Hi crafty friends, welcome to my craft room. This is Denise of PaperKraftD, and today I'm really excited to share with you a tag journal that I'm going to be making using this die from Elizabeth Craft Designs, which is part of the new Planner's Essential line designed by Esther Glas. This is the die I'm going to be using primarily, and I'm going to be using this Rainbow Collage Tags Kit from Cara Branding Creations. Now I just went ahead and I printed off the tag pages. There's only 5 of them. Now you get a bunch of other ephemera with it as well, but I just was concerned about the tags for the moment. This is 1 page, and I printed the identical thing on the back. And I did this on some fairly thick double-sided matte photo paper. I'll leave a link below if you're interested in finding out what it is I used. But there are 5 different designs in the various color families. There we go. And I'm just going to take and I'm going to cut these out, kind of like this. And we're going to make a little accordion tag journal. So that should be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm going to start with this one and just show you how I did it. And I'm not going to show you how I go through each one because I don't want to belabor it. But I take off the top portion just so I can get as close to that tag top as I can, because I don't want any white showing if I can help it on the very top. So I'm just taking that little strip off. Okay. And then I'm going to also cut off this bottom portion with these 2 tags that are on the very bottom. And that'll give me these tags all together just like that. I'm going to get my Big Shot out, and it really doesn't matter whether you choose to start on this side or on this side, because if you see, if I use this as the center on the back, it's going to cut out this one. So it doesn't matter which one you cut out as the center, because you have to do either this or that one. What I'm going to do is take the top here, and I'm just taking this little notch where the cutting blade is, and I'm just going to align that with the top of this tag, and you can kind of feel when it catches, and I'm just centering that. Okay, I'm going to lift it up a tiny bit. Then I'm going to take a little bit of painter's tape. And it's kind of important to get this, properly placed. So take a minute, do this. Okay. And that's more or less aligned the way I want. I'm just going to put the painter's tape down here on one side. I'm going to put the cover over the pad on the top. That's the word I'm looking for. Send it through. And there we go. I'm getting this great looking tag with it cut on both sides. I just love that. And don't worry about these little spots between the tags. We'll do something with that shortly. Add a little ink so that that doesn't show up quite so much. Isn't that turning out great? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with the other 4 pages, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is what I'm ending up with. I've got 5 different designs. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is just to go ahead and score these. Well, they're already scored. We're just going to fold them along the score line. I'm going to fold that one in. So the left one I'm going to do onto the front. The right one I'm going to do to the back. So we end up with kind of like a Z fold, just like that. So I'm going to do that to all of these. Okay, so all of these are now folded in a Z formation. It looks like a Z. Okay, so all of them are folded like that. And very simply, these can then be put together in like a little booklet like this, and you can put as many together as you'd like. You can put all 5 together, you can put just 3 together, you can, you know, do it any way that you'd like. This is not the order I'm going to keep it in, but you'll see. So it would, you know, open like this once these are glued together. So in other words, this front just slips into the back, just like that on each of these. And then you'll get a little fold out book just like that. Okay. Now you can do it just like this and, you know, glue these together and it'll be, you know, turn out to a really cute little book. I want to add a little bit more dimension to the interior. So I'm going to add a little bit deeper fold here. So what I'm going to be doing is adding a score line, just 1/8 of an inch outside of this score line and 1/8 of an inch outside of that score line. So the current score lines are at 2 1/4 and 5. Okay. So this score line's at 2 1/4, this one's at 5. I'm just going to go put an extra one, make sure this is nice and flush into this corner right here. Nice and flush. I'm going to add an extra score line at 2 1/8, and then I'm going to add an extra score line at 5 1/8. Okay, because the other score line is at 5. I'll have an extra score line right here. And I'll have an extra score line so that'll make a nice kind of little, see, like a little spine almost on each of these tickets. Just like that. So you've got a little 1/8 of an inch spine there and a little 1/8 of an inch spine there. All right, so I'm going to do that on each of these. Okay, so you can see I added that little 1/8 of an inch kind of spine to all of these except for this side of the front cover. I'm choosing this one to be the front cover, and I want you know, this design to be continuous, so I don't want to add more space here, so I just left this one as is. I did not add a 1/8 of an inch to this side. Okay, but all the rest I did that. Okay, so the next thing is just to decide if you want to ink up these edges at all. Okay, so I may add a little bit of color to these. You can see they have, some of these have some thicker white lines. So I've come up with some ink colors that match with these really well. Like this Spice Marmalade goes really well with the orange. The peacock feathers goes really well with this kind of teal color. The pine needles goes really well with this green. So I think the easiest way to go about this would be to, you know, for example, take the mustard seed, and I'm going to use my water pen. You can use a regular brush and then just your, you know, your spray, your water sprayer too. That's also an option. But I think one of the easiest ways to go about this is just to add a little bit of, you know, ink here. We add a little bit of water. Oh, that one's the oxide. I don't want to get this super wet, but I'm just adding a little bit of yellow to this, just to kind of cover some of that white. All right, and then I'm just going to put this off to the side to dry. All right, so after you've colorized them, yeah, you end up with this. It's just very subtle. I'm not looking to, you know, make a big, huge statement with these, just kind of getting some of the white off of there, so it's not quite so glaring. Okay. All right, and then the next step, you know, from here, I would figure out kind of what order you want to put your pages in. So I had decided in advance that I wanted this to be the front cover, so I like this order for mine. And again, I'm just putting, you know, the one behind into that little fold there. I'm doing that for each one. And then it'll come out like that. And that. And that. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is go through and I want to reinforce these as edges. And I'm going to be using some homemade washi tape that I made. And, you know, there's all sorts of different designs that I have for this. Let's see, I'm going to get my little clip here just so I keep it together while I am doing this so I don't get confused. So I've got these, I've got all of these, and I didn't color any of these because I really want to see the design through it, so I want just the plain white background on that. And I've also got this one, which has the the stamped kind of collage on there. If you'd like to see how I made this washi, check out this video right here. I'll also put it in the description box below so that you don't have to interrupt this video if you don't want to. This homemade washi that I made features this Measurements stamp set, and I also used quite a bit of this Florence stamp set. Both of these are by Elizabeth Craft Designs and part of the new Favorite Humans release. I don't want to cover up the wing. I want to make sure I get over that fold area. Okay, I'm just going to burnish that down a little bit. And then cut off the excess. And again, this is just to, it's a little bit decorative, but it's mainly just to reinforce these seams right here, because these folds are going to get a lot of wear. So that's what it looks like on the front. Isn't that cool? You can see through the tape. It's just kind of a translucent tape, just like any washi tape would be. And I'm going to continue doing that for each of these seams. So I'm just going to go through and see what looks good. You know, some of it's might be covered up quite a bit, so it's not necessarily going to be that visible. So, you know, that's something I want to keep in mind as well. Okay, so I've chosen a couple spots where I want there to be flip ups. It's going to be on, no, not that one, on this flap right here, and then on this flap right here. Okay, so I'm going to get out my die cut, my Big Shot, and go ahead and get started on that. Let's see, I'm going to start on this one. So this goes here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's the same one, so that actually makes it kind of easy. And then this goes over here. So it's this orange and pink one. That definitely makes it a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to use this die right here on the new pocket page fillers from Elizabeth Craft Designs. This has more pieces. I just took them out. I'll show a screenshot of what the whole set looks like. But this one's really cool because it has a score line along here, and then it cuts along all of those edges. So it can do some really cool stuff. So I'm just lining up this die where I want it to cut on the page, and I'm using that same technique where I'm letting the edge of the blade hit up against the edge of the paper, just so that I get the cut exactly where I want. And then I'm going to be very carefully taping it down. I don't want to get any tape on the interior of that little flap, so I've got to be a little bit careful about how I tape it down, because this tape will tear the paper. So I'm just very carefully taping it down, kind of in that little notch area. I found that was the safest place to put the tape. Okay, so you can see this is like this, and then it is scored, so it'll go back like that. It'll lift up. Isn't that cute? All right, I'm going to do that again on the same side. Okay, so I put them back in the correct order, and now I'm just going to go through and glue them together across the bottom. So let's see. All right. This is a little bit larger than 2 3/4. Is that what I want it to be? Again, I'm gonna line it up so that this is straight up and down like that. I'll just close that. So these are all kind of lining up just like this. Is that correct? It's a little bit more than 2 3/4. So I want to make sure that this, yes, it's exactly at the right spot. Okay, that's fine as long as it's working. Okay. Okay. I'm just, I don't need this to be perfect because I'm going to go along the bottom of this and I'm going to sew it. So I'm just lining these up like this along the left side and along the bottom. And I hold these. I flop that over. And then I put this over like that. And I just kind of burnish that. It's pretty close. Shoot, I don't want to go beyond that. So I probably want to lift this up slightly and move it over ever so slightly. There we go. There we go. Now, that's not going to have a gap. Still a little bit off. Doesn't matter if that comes up because I'm not going to see that. All right, so let's just check that one more time. Yep, that's looking good. All right, the other side, I believe, looks good as well, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's close, but it works. Okay. There we go. It's pretty close. All right. And then it's this one. Okay. And I'm just adding like, I don't know, 1.5 inches. Is that right? Yeah, like 1.5 inches of glue along the bottom there. And that flap. Okay. And I'm doing the same exact thing, just lining it up again along the left edge and along the bottom. And then I hold that like that, so that I'm holding that in place. Then I flip that over. Make sure everything's aligned. Okay. That's good. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to let that dry for a little while. And then when I'm done, I'm gonna, you know, put it all out like this. And I'm just gonna stitch along, oops, along this bottom edge, okay? Just to keep everything in place. I'm gonna put a little clip there just so it dries nice and even and straight. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to do some stamping. I'm gonna use this Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. It's 110 pound cover weight. I wanna stamp this Favorite Humans stamp. This is also an Elizabeth Craft Design stamp set, brand new from the Planner's Essential collection from Esther Glas, designed by Esther Glas. Okay. I just love these little kids. They're so stinking cute. All right, I haven't even used this stamp set yet. So yeah, placement doesn't really matter all that much. Just want to make sure I get a nice impression. I'm going to use some painter's tape because I don't know what it is about this, but it just doesn't want to stay down. I always get that little lifting, and that's super irritating because then sometimes it doesn't align perfectly then. And I'm going to use my Memento ink because I might want to use Copics with these. Oh, aren't they cute? They are just adorable. Seriously adorable. So there's a die that goes with this particular stamp, but I'm not going to use that because I'm going to fussy cut each of these children out individually because that's, yeah, obviously it's not going to fit on here like that. So I'm just fussy cutting these out by hand, and once they're all cut out, I'm going to determine what page I want each child to be on. Okay, and then I'm thinking of putting her right there. Isn't she adorable? With the little wings. Okay. So this is all sewn. There's a little pocket there. It opens up. It actually opens up all the way like this. Like that. but I kind of like it as a little booklet. It's really kind of how I envisioned it. So it'll open up like that, like that, like that, like that. And you can see I sewed across the top here as well, just so that it kind of has some symmetry on the top and the bottom. All right, so the next step is that, you know, I kind of just want to go through this, and we've got these little pockets that we can put in here. So I can do it like that or like that. And it's really going to depend on the page. With this one, I may just want to cover up some of this instead. And then use this as a little pocket area like that. And I've also got this pocket for the bottom, and it's also just got a mat, so you could just put like a mat in here, which would be really pretty too. Could even use this as a flip out like that. That wouldn't be bad either. So those are some ideas as well. And I could even add those little flip out things on here if I wanted to. So really it's just a matter of deciding, you know, how I want to go about this, and, you know, where I want to put the pockets, how I want them to look, and all of that really fun stuff. So I'm just going to be cutting some paper, and this is from the offcuts that we took off the bottom of the tags. Remember, I had 4 tags and then a couple more tags on the bottom, so I'm just going to use those and, you know, cut some various pieces here. You know, pockets, mats, and another pocket, and yeah, you know, just see what we come up with. All right, so I just want to point out that these decisions that you make about where things are going to go, you kind of need to keep in mind how pages that are opposite each other are going to impact each other, and how things that you add might show on the page on the opposite side. Also, you can be somewhat strategic to hide some of the colors that don't seem to flow, or some of the images that don't make as much sense, or to add embellishments to kind of plain pages. So, you know, think about that as you are designing each page. It may be like for this one that we just cover both of these up. Like the yellow is kind of the odd duck out. So if I'm opening this up like this, as much as I like that heavy cream label thing, I'm not finding that it looks really great with those other 3 colors. It's kind of the odd duck out, so I might just, you know, get something that's either green or blue or this darker green and make that into a little pocket right here. Okay, and then like on this side, this is really, really busy. So I might just, I really like this. So I might want to, you know, cut a little paper for this right here that fits right behind there, glue it in, and use this as a side tuck pocket, or even as a, you know, corner tuck pocket. But, you know, I've got to, you know, we can't have it so that it's sticking out the other side, although I don't think that's going to matter so much with this one if I'm putting it this direction. I don't think it's going to interfere with it. So then I could just, you know, glue it across the top, for example, and then use this as a pocket here. And then this pocket here would just hide that's that way. So, you know, just you kind of have to think about how you want these to, you know, to play out. So just a quick update on what I have done so far. Let's see. So I remember glued this little pocket in here. I think that looks really, really cute. I'm very happy with that. I went ahead and I glued this pocket in here, and I really like this because it kind of extends the pattern that was there already, but you can see that it's got a little tuck spot there, so I thought that was really cute. And then I've got a little pocket right here. And on this other page, the pocket's right here. There's also a pocket up here that goes lengthwise like that. This will provide lots of journaling space. And I just kind of covered up some of that darker stuff in the middle with some of that collage tape from the stamping that I did. And I really like that. You know, you get kind of the darker, the light. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. So for this page, I needed something that would keep the flaps closed, but that would flip up and rotate up, and you would be able to open the flaps when you wanted to see them. So I came up with this solution for this just really adorable little kitsch hotel keychain, and to make that I used this Pocket Page Fillers 1 die set from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and this is part of their new Favorite Humans collection. And in the interior I used a stamp from this Frida at Home stamp set, and again this is part of that same new collection. And if you want to know how I got this letterpress effect just from regular dies, I have a video that I will link right here as well as in this description box below. So this keychain needed a bit of heft to keep those little flaps down, so I actually cut out the shape 3 times and glued them all together so that it's a little bit thicker. And then I just edged the edges. Inked the edges of it, and then I added this micro glaze over the top so that, you know, this is gonna get a lot of handling, so this should keep it from discoloring. It is waterproof. I didn't film the process for how I attached the keychain to the journal. So I didn't show that on camera, so I want to show you how I did that on this page because it's going to be very similar. All right, so for this one, I am thinking that this bottom one, I really want to use this this really cute little pen nib. It's from one of the Elizabeth Craft Design die sets. And it started off like this. So I cut it out of some silver foil paper. Just got that at Michael's. It's craft on the other side. I took 2 of these. There's 2 sides of these nibs. I used the larger one and I glued them front to back. And then I took some of, this was a freebie, this page was a freebie from Cara Brandon on her Ko-fi site, I think. And all I did was print this one direction, and then I flipped the page, so did a mirror image, and then I printed it on the back so that I'd have these butterflies front and back without having to you know, print them twice and glue them together. So, and I did that on some photo paper, so it's, you know, double-sided matte photo paper, so it's really, really, you know, pretty and nice. Okay, and then I just put a little hole here and added an eyelet. This is a metallic eyelet. Oh, I inked this up with some alcohol inks, obviously. So that has alcohol ink on it, and I cut a hole and put a little brad in there. So you can see on the back more of the alcohol ink. And I'm thinking I want to put it like right here. I think this would be really pretty, and then it can come down and you can lift this flap up like that. Okay. All right, so before I do that, I'm just going to use a little bit of this Scotch clear tape so that things just tack down the way it's supposed to be. And then, you know, because those little peekaboo pockets have a tendency to, you know, it goes all the way to this edge. So I want to make sure that this is down completely. Okay, so I'm just going to put that on the reverse side. And then that way I know that that's not going to lift. You can see that's the seam right there. So it's like, it's actually exactly to the edge of that paper that's behind it. So yeah, I want that right there. I'm just going to cut a tiny little piece of seam binding. It does not need to be big at all. Okay, I'm just going to take a little bit of some glue stick, and I'm going to glue that on there. And this is just to add some strength to the area that I put, where I'm going to put the brad. There's no glue on this back side, so it should just slide down in there, hopefully. So, all right, so I'm just putting that, there we go. I'm gonna find the placement for this. I want it to be just left of this mushroom. I'll put it right there. I'll get my pokey tool. So I tried really hard to get the hole to just go through that one layer of paper that has the mushroom on it and didn't poke all the way through to the other side, and it just really wasn't working, unfortunately. It's going to be too hard to try to do this without going all the way through, so I'm going to have to, normally I'd like to go between these two pieces of paper, but for this one I think just because of the placement of it, I am just going to have to go straight through like that. Okay, so I took, like I said, a little bit of this tape. It wasn't a lot. I just, I don't know, made it just a little square like that. Put that right over that area, and that way, you know, if it rubs a little bit, not the end of the world. I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna have to cover where the brad marks come out, but that's okay. We'll figure that out later when we do the other side. All right. Make sure I have that all the way through. And I'm just gonna add my brad. I'm gonna fold this cardstock in half, so it's like this, just to add a little bit of a spacer on this side, so that when I put the prongs of the brad down, you know, I'm not making it as, you know, completely tight. I mean, I want it secure, but I don't want it so tight that it, that little arm can't move. All right, so now this should be able to move back and forth like that. Super cute. Now I can glue this section down. This is where that little fine tip nozzle comes in handy. Make sure that I don't get any on here, because I don't want this to glue down accidentally. But I do want all of this to glue down. Okay. And if you're worried about it, you know, rubbing this too much and ruining the print, you can use just something to protect it a little bit as you burnish it. I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece down too, because this one is just stationary. Just thoroughly gluing it. I'm putting it down. Kind of doing the same thing where I just make sure to burnish it down. There we go. Okay, so now I just have this one piece up here. So I've got this, which is super cute. You can see the little mushrooms in the background. Super, super cute. And then, all right, so up here, I have a couple different ideas for how to keep this little flap down. Use something like this. Put a little brad up here and hold this down. I was thinking this would make a cute little magnifying glass, this shape. If I cut two of them out of this metallic paper, did some more alcohol inks, add some acetate between those and glue them together, that would make a really cute little kind of magnifying glass in there. So that would be kind of cute with this botany kind of theme. I can move that off like that. Okay, I think that's good. So like right where that little guy is right there, I'm gonna go ahead and put a hole there so it's ready to go. I'm gonna glue the stuff onto the back. Just so that I've got it, like I said, ready to go. Okay, so doing this just gives me an idea of where I need to now put the little bit of fabric that I want to glue on there. Let that dry. I'm going to add a little bit of that tape to the front of this. So this location tag die that I am using as a magnifying glass comes from the Pocket Page Fillers 3 die set. It's from the new collection, Favorite Humans. And I'm just cutting this out of some metallic cardstock, again the same one that I got at Michael's. And then I'm just going to colorize it with some alcohol inks. You can use whatever colors you want. I think I used terracotta, caramel, and some teak wood on the other ones. And see, this already has, you can see where I already put them. I have a little bit of blending solution. And these are the same colors and the same process that I used to colorize the pen nib that I used for the butterfly to close that bottom flap on this page. Now look how cool that turns out. Isn't that beautiful? I love alcohol inks. Okay, so I want to put a little piece of acetate in here. This is very narrow area that I have to glue this. So I just, I'm gonna have to put some tape on there, double-sided adhesive, and then cut around it. I didn't have a circle punch that was the right size. Okay, so I'm gonna use, again, some double-sided tape. This is the best way to get adhesive on here. You know, normally you'd be able to use something like you know, Fabri-Tac or something like that. You can't really with this because it will take the color off. It will remove the alcohol ink. All right, and I'm going to get the adhesive out of that inner hole because I don't want adhesive on the acetate. All right, so now I'm just going to lay this down on here. Okay, don't cut around it. Pretty good. You can sand the edges if you want it, you know, even better than that, but I might do that a little bit. This is the side that's most important. Again, just put some adhesive around it. Oops. Okay. Lift this up without it tearing. Okay, and again, I'm just, you know, getting those adhesive off. I put them over here near the rest of the adhesive. I'm trying to make sure it doesn't go anywhere on the interior. So I just want to add an eyelet like right And I've got to repoke this, if you remember, because we added the tape and the other thing to it. There we go. See? All right, so I've got this. I'm going to put it through there like that. I'm going to put that through my hole. Okay. And again, I want to make sure that I've got a little spacer there. I want a little piece of just some cardstock. This will work. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to glue it on there just so the metal from the back of the brads doesn't poke through the front paper. Glue that whole thing down. So basically I'm going from all the way to here, all the way around here. I don't want to get this flap, obviously, right, with full of glue. So I'm just going to go around all the edges. I want that glued down really well. And make sure when I burnish it down that I don't get any glue on this acetate, because that would not be good. Yeah, that's really cute. It looks like a little, you know, field notes kind of page. I really, really love that. That's super duper cute. And I can do more embellishing later. I'm really at this point just doing pockets and, you know, these little things. I'm gonna add stuff underneath these little things later. Okay, so before I color these little beautiful children in, I think I want to add some little tag reinforcers up here. So I made these hole protectors using this die from Elizabeth Craft Designs. You can see it has a little stitching detail around it. And I brought that out with ink, kind of accented those stitching details. I have a video showing how I made them up here, and I'll also link it in the description box below. Okay, so I'm just going to take these and glue these to the various pages like that. I think they'll look really cute. Oh my gosh, look how cute these little hole reinforcers look. Aren't they adorable? They just add that little bit of detail. I really love it. You can see I made the color of the ink on the stitching match whatever the color of the page was. Love that. Okay. Oh, There is a lot of color and busyness going on in this little journal. So what I'm thinking is that I want to cut some tags to go in here, but I'm thinking of just using something very neutral, like a combination of this kind of creamy manila file folder and some white cardstock paper. So the die I'm going to be using for these is this Pocket Page Fillers 2. And I'm going to be using these 3 tags in the pockets of the journal. And I really like these tags. They have a really cool, unique design because they have that long horizontal strip hole rather than just a circular hole. And there are also hole reinforcers that fit those holes in this set as well. So it looks really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to alternate colors. So I'm going to have every tag that has that's made out of manila file folder is going to have a white hold reinforcer, and every tag that is made out of the white cardstock is going to have a manila hole reinforcer. So I think that's going to look pretty cool. It'll just add a little bit more detail and kind of bring out both of those colors from the journal and add some neutrals in. And you can see what that's going to look like here. So what I've shown you so far gives you all of the basic elements that you need to create the foundation for your own tag journal. You have all of the pieces to, create a journal just like this, or, in any style that you'd like. So I just want to point out that in this picture, you see the technique that I used for a closure for this album. Very, very simple. I essentially just used one of the hole reinforcers for the tags. I think I used the larger size, and I just threaded some trim through that. This picture shows some seam binding, but in the final tag journal I ended up using some sari silk, but same thing. And all I did was I glued the seam binding to the back of that little reinforcer, and then I glued the reinforcer to the back of that pocket, kind of between the pocket and the tag page. So and then I added a faux pearl to the end to give it a little heft and a little decoration, and then I wrapped that whole thing around and put it through so that it keeps the tag journal closed when you're not flipping through it. So I hope that helps. If you want a separate video showing how I did that, I can provide one, but I did not videotape that process. So just leave me a comment if you are interested in that. Also, I didn't go into great detail in this video about how I decorated all of the individual pages and show all those sorts of details. However, if you haven't yet seen the full flip through of the final tag journal, I urge you to look at that. There are a lot more details about the individual pages and how they were decorated. But if you want more detail about how I colorized the children with Copics, how I decorated the tags or the pages, how I made the writing spots, or how I made the pop-up elements, just leave me a comment and let me know. If enough people are interested, I'll go ahead and make videos showing those details. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun making this little tag journal, and a lot of love was put into it. There's so many little details and interactive elements. I am just in love with this one. If you do like this, please give me a thumbs up. And if you like this kind of content, I'd be thrilled if you would subscribe to my channel. And if you like what you saw here and you want more details, check out the videos about the letterpress effect and making your DIY washi. All right, this is Denise of PaperKraftD, and craft on.